What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Ethereum today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, all right? It is the 21st day of June. We had a bit of a red day yesterday, didn't we? We dropped down 4.5%, potentially finding yet another low in this area to bounce from. I don't know, man. Historically speaking, anytime that we've been down, I say historically, relatively speaking, since mid-May, anytime we've been down below about $2,500, we found our low points, and here we are, all the way down at about 2370 there on the low. I think we might have found a low point there, my friends. If we're looking at this, that is a lower daily close. It's the lowest daily close. What's interesting here, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but whenever you look at this, here's your low daily close of the range so far. You got a lower daily close, and then what you do the next day? You moved up to the upside. You moved up. You had a green day, right? If you guys heard any children laughing, that was just my daughter laughing. Okay, and that's better than her screaming, at least. And we actually had a green day the next day. We did go lower, but it was a fake out. We went lower, right? Or we actually closed up higher, right? And so the next daily low close was here. If I can get it. They put it all the way over here. Why not put it to the left or something where it's it makes more sense. Like, who's doing their charts all the way out over here? It just doesn't make sense to me, man. Maybe I'm just grumpy. Whenever we had our next daily low close, did you notice something? We started moving up after that, right? It was below that. I wonder, and that's twice in a row that we've done that. I wonder if the third time's the charm, and we'll do the exact same thing. Here's the deal, though. We closed below that daily low close, and we had pretty average volume. Nothing crazy. Nothing that's suggestive of a breakout, and it's the weekend now. We're moving up here, guys. Likely what's going to happen, and I know it might sound crazy. It shouldn't sound crazy, though, right? I'm being facetious whenever I say it might sound crazy. We're going to bounce from here. We've been bouncing from here. We're in a horizontal channel, right? Blemishes to the upside, blemishes to the downside, highs and lows throughout. This is actually a really good area to buy. And typically, in horizontal channels, you don't break out the direction opposite of the direction you came in. You actually break out in the same direction that you came into the pattern for, right? So I would expect here we're finding support and we're moving up higher. You best believe if Ethereum makes a move between now and the end of this month of June that takes us above this area, that gets us above about $2,800, you best believe altcoins are going to rally all across the board. Bitcoin's going to rally. Everything. Your grandma's favorite cryptocurrency, hi grandma, I love you. They're gonna pump. I do have a crypto grandma. She's a badass, man. She's probably been in crypto longer than most of you watching this video, man. And she's a very smart woman though. So I mean, I guess that makes sense. But anyways, getting enough buttering the bread there. Love you, grandma. Looking at the daily RSI, you've got some of the lowest readings that you've had. You're in an area between the 40 and the 35. It's a perfect area to bounce. You actually do find a lot of support right here. I mean, if we put let's do it from the 35 to the 40, right here in this zone. You can see we find support right there. We find support in this area, resistance in this area, support right there, resistance right there, support right here, support just below, support, right? Support, just in this area, maybe even just a little bit lower than that, but tomato, whatever. Even if we go a little bit lower, sure, whatever. Let's go a little bit lower. Maybe we'll get a true double bottom on this range. It'll look like we're breaking out over the weekend, and then we'll just rip to the upside over the rest of the month here. I am expecting by the end of the month of June, we're either going to be A, at the top of this range, or more likely B, breaking out of it, and then going into July with a very, very bullish start. That'd be my expectation. Time will tell. We'll see how it goes. But let's look at the short-term stuff, and we'll see if we can validate that, okay? 1 hour time frame here. And hold on, let me get some water. 1 hour time frame here. You did move down with some purpose, with some volume. Not going to lie, you did move down. Let's look at the 15-minute time frame. A lot of that volume, though, the majority of that volume by far came on this candle, which was a wick. Predominant wick. Absolutely massive wick. And then you tried to make a low here. Nothing. What'd you get? You got double. Whoop. Okay. We can do this real quick, sure. You got double bullish divergence where your Your low in the RSI, oh, I guess it wasn't double bullish day. I guess, yes, it was. Low here, higher low, and a higher low. Low here, lower low, lower low. That is double bullish divergence, and volume died off. No wonder we're reversing right now. Another point, and this I made in the most recent Bitcoin video I made, our fear and greed index is borderline in the fear zone. We're at a 43. We're neutral right now, but we were at 48 yesterday. Now we're at 43. We dropped a whole 5 points, which doesn't seem that significant, but it is, over a very tiny move that didn't even break us out of anything significant on the Ethereum price action here, right? It looks like it did. It seems significant, but really, you look at what it is. This is actually, for a spike in volume, it's actually one of the lower spikes that we've had, right? In comparison to some of these, it's, oh, hold on, let me actually get that. Let's be more fair. Let's get that right there. Pretty appropriate there, but some of these larger spikes, these larger moves that we've had to the downside, this is actually not really comparable to those, right? And it is, maybe it is one of the larger spikes. Maybe I shouldn't say it's one of the smaller spikes, but it's nothing significant. Nothing significant enough to break us out of this overall range that we've been consolidating in since the beginning of May, right? I very much do expect we'll bounce here. It looks like on the 4-hour time frame we are rejecting the oversold zone, and if we're rejecting the oversold zone, and if that's true, we should get a nice move up that takes us all the way up above the 40, potentially even above the 50. The higher up we go, the better. Once we get in that overbought zone, you guys, the magic's really going to start to happen. If we look at this here, you've got a low, a higher low, and a higher low in your RSI. No bullish divergence, to be fair, but I do like the higher low perspective on the RSI there, and I really do believe that would suggest that we're moving up in the RSI. Where we are in the price suggests we're moving up in the price as well. And then, of course, we're at a nice area to bounce in the daily RSI as well. I wouldn't be surprised at all. If we go lower, which, by the way, I'm not expecting, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, I do not expect that we see lower prices. Maybe we could go lower than yesterday's price, but I doubt we get below 2,300, right? From a low here, come on. Oh, come on, trading view. Give me the low. There we go. Low to high. I doubt we get below 2,330. I don't think we go below this 236. If we were to do this right, look, there's, and I'm not trying to pick on you, but damn it, you've got a very good example of what I would not want to see if we were to hold the 236 as support, right? Watch this thing just fly from here because I'm taunting it. You know, whenever you bounce off the 236 like this, that's good, but when you grind it, you're probably going lower. It should be no shock when you go to the 382, right? ETH, however, you're not doing that. You're finding support above the 236. You found direct support at the 236, right? You're likely not going to break below it, and you're likely going to continue going further. And again, just horizontal channel, there's very little, there's a small chance that you'd break out of this to the downside. There's a much larger chance that we break out of it to the upside, okay? And I think right now, the crypto fear and greed index, people are not thinking rationally. The majority of people right now are bearish, right? You know, it's pretty neutral, to be completely fair, but it is, this person here, report a weekly sentiment breakdown for the week ending June 18th, right? So yesterday, or I guess 2 days ago, it's the 21st, so I guess it would have been 3 days ago. Why would it be the week ending June 18th? Would it be this week? I don't know. This week, earlier this week, it was saying 33% bullish, 41% bearish, and then 25% neutral, right? Stronger bearish sentiment in that time frame. 41 bearish, 33 bullish. Averaging these insights, we can estimate roughly 46% bearish and 41% bullish, right? It's pretty neutral, but the majority of people are bearish now because of these little insignificant moves that happen that people think are significant, right? I don't believe that we're going lower. I really do believe we're going higher. And enough of that. Let's talk about where we're going to go. From a high to a low here, golden ratio 0.5, perfect, very strong phase of consolidation, by the way, right between here. You're likely going to rip to the 786, 886, which is 32 to 3,600. You might even go above that and rip right up to your highs here. You'll have a quadruple top, but there's no such thing as a quadruple top. Quadruple tops are just inevitable breakthroughs, man. And maybe you get there, maybe you don't. Maybe you stop here, you kind of wrestle in this zone like you are right here, and then you continue to move up, something like that, maybe. But I would think that you do stand to go to around $3,600 to even $4,000, at least $3,200, something in this zone. Find some turbulence, and then you'll continue upwards to brand new all-time highs, $5,500, $8,000, somewhere in that range. I'm leaning toward $8K personally, $6,500 personally, $6,420, sure, at a minimum, but probably higher than that. And with that, I mean, what would that be? We can see. Let's just see here. Will that continue to outperform Bitcoin? I think it will. We go here. Yeah, man. Even at a minimum, that's 123% growth at the maximum that I could see for Bitcoin. Right? I don't even see it getting to 200K. That means it's not even going to grow 100%. We're looking for something on the lines of about 170 to 180K. So that's a 64% to a 74%, maybe even a little bit more than that. Let's say 80% growth. 80% for Bitcoin versus 123% at a minimum, and what will likely be something closer to about 200% or more. You're basically tripling the growth that you'll see versus Bitcoin. You guys, ETH BTC has double bottomed. We found a double bottom, right? Or triple bottom, whatever you want. On a monthly time frame, it looks more like a double bottom. We're going to get a V-shaped recovery. If Ethereum's outpacing Bitcoin like 3x, right? If it's growing at 3 times the pace or at least over twice the pace, you're going to see this thing grow. Anytime that the Ethereum BTC chart is growing, the dominance tanks. It absolutely tanks. And what happens when the dominance tanks? We all know. Ben Cohen instilled it in all of our brains. If you know about the Bitcoin dominance and the theory behind alt season, but you don't know Ben Cohen, and he's not the one that came up with it, right? There's been plenty of people in the space, even before him, that have identified this, right? But I feel like that this is his bread and butter, man. If you don't know who Ben Cohen is, you got to follow that guy, man. He's a good one. He's a mathematical mind. He's a very smart. I think that he's a very good analyst. You should definitely follow Benjamin Cohen on that note. Shout out to Ben. I don't know him. I just appreciate his work. Bitcoin dominance dropping when the ETH BTC, right? This is the dominance. The red chart here, the candle chart is ETH to BTC. When the ETH BTC dominance grow, or I guess same thing, but when the ETH BTC price is growing, dominance drops. When the ETH BTC price is growing, dominance drops. And whenever it's growing fast, dominance tanks. We just had a parabolic move down. We're going to have a V-shaped recovery. And I explained this. We know it's going to be V-shaped because that's where cup and handles come from, right? Parabolic corrections tend to be V-shaped. And you flip it over, you've got the cup and handle here. Maybe we go lower. Maybe. I don't think so. I think we're going to V-shape, and we're going to maybe not go to new all-time highs, but we're going to return to slightly lower highs or around there, maybe even slightly higher highs, something like that. But we're at least going to grow. And when we do that, what's the dominance going to do? It's no small conclusion that we're going to go lower, right? Or deduction, I guess. Either way, it works. So deduction might be a more appropriate word, but they're both fine. Anyways, guys, $2,400 right now, $7,800 later. We'll see you at the moon. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. HODL your coins. I think we're getting set up for an end-of-month rally and a little summer rally, you guys. Something that we're not too akin to in the crypto space, but I think that's exactly what we're going to get. 4th of July, we're going to be celebrating the United States birthday, right? It's the United States of America's birthday on the 4th of July, and I think Donald Trump has a lot of bullish things planned for the economy and for the markets. We'll see, man. I think that there's some good stuff coming out, man. There are a lot of things lined up for top performing assets outside of Ethereum that are lined up for July as well. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.